What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, joined by my co-host today.
Deeper 21, what's up?
It's another nice day to be together. I feel like we haven't been together in a long time.
Yeah, right. Between your traveling and me just working second job, but hey, we finally linked up, which is a good thing.
Agreed, agreed. Yeah, I'm happy to be better. And to talk the Knicks, even though it's been a little slow, I feel like it has. Just because I thought January was a beautiful month for the Knicks. The Knicks had a really strong winning streak going on. And then I feel like in the midst of the wins, we started having a man down situation and players were dropping like flies. And then February came and the Knicks, while they kept battling each game, I thought each game so far has been a really good played, well played game by the Knicks just because the Knicks, when they were down in certain games, they were able to crawl back. They weren't getting blown out. But and then you had certain players who did step up. But February, because of so many injuries, the Knicks can't. The squad that they have now, they don't know how to win. And sure, you have Bogdanovich, you have Alex Burke, but is that enough with Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo, who's also hurt? Is that enough to get wins? You know what I mean? Like, can that group figure out how to win? I'm not sure.
Well, I think in all fairness, it's too soon. You know, they were thrown in.
So, how many
So
more games you need before it's?
okay, but listen, the All-Star break, I'm quite as a Knicks fan, I couldn't wait for the All-Star break to come
Mhm.
because it gives these guys a chance to rest. Alec and Bojan, they can learn the playbook. And let's hope, teams is going to practice. I mean, a lot of guys want to use this time as a to go away for their vacation, but let's hope this time was utilized wisely. And in all fairness, they were thrown in the midst, close to the second half of the season. So this is where, the real test is gonna come. So I mean, I think they can, um, with what we have, um, I mean, and I'm hopeful that they can anyway. Maybe it's just the Knicks and me as a fan, and just hopeful that they can get, or they will be enough.
No, I don't see it.
I know you don't.
I just feel like because we don't have time to go backwards, and it's unfortunate that injuries have been occurring with the Knicks. And it's been a real roadblocker for these guys because, again, the Knicks have lost their last four games in a row. The Knicks haven't done that during the regular season, losing 4 or 5 games in a row. I think that while the Knicks,
Okay.
yes, have had their early woes at the start of the season, this is not something that we've seen from this team. And as Tom Thibodeau's teams are known as the guys, the teams who crawl back, they're able to battle, they're resilient. This Knicks team has done that, even when it was an early Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle out. When you had guys like Dante DiVincenzo who was able to come in the game, step up, bring efficient shooting. His shooting percentage have went up. He showed why he belongs on his team at a great contract like Jalen Brunson. And then you guys had like Precious Achua who stepped up as well. And he's been a great addition to the squad and knowing where to be in his spots with an injured Isaiah Hartenstein. So that's now 3 players. Excuse me, 4, because I did mention Mitchell Robinson. And I think with those core guys out, along with OG Ananobi, who you're missing, but you're hoping you can get some of that offense from either Bogdanovich, which will be there from him, and Alex Burks that time, who can still give you around 12 to 15 points a game, 20, 25, and on some nights. But I just think that the Knicks, with who they have now, and I watched them over the last 4 games, I don't see it happening. I can see it happening sometimes, like how the Knicks were before they got Jalen Brunson, where it was sometimes it would happen. minus the times where Julius Randle was really hot and the Knicks went on a run and then they got Josh Hart. But otherwise than that, the Knicks had times where they were losing games, sometimes back to back. So when I look at this team now, you don't have Dante DiVincenzo, you don't have Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein is hurt. Who else do they have? Because sure, McBride has been playing well. Grimes is out. Well, they got rid of Grimes. That tells you how much I missed him. But I just think that watching this squad now, Josh Hart is not going to be able to give you as much like that, not consistently, not because he's not capable, but that's not his role as far as scoring. I thought he's done the other things well. Deuce can give you some points too, 14 to 16 points. But again, is that going to be on a consistent basis? He's still finding his rhythm and his groove. It's not so much that where it gives him those nights where he can be inconsistent. But right now it's just Jalen Brunson. And what options does he really have? I don't see this squad being able to give the Knicks consistent wins.
Well, again, because they were hit with the injury bug, and there was some good news that, you know, some reports came out as far as the timetables and the progress that they're making, and notwithstanding, that they don't come back in that time frame. This is why, I guess this was insurance as far as bringing both Bogdanovich and Berg. Um, you know, Hartenstein, although he's listed day to day, same thing with DiVincenzo. But again, this break was, it couldn't come at a better time. Um, they do play, Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a total of like 27 games left, within the regular season. You know, can they, get the bulk of those wins? I believe so with this squad. At least or can they just hold out and get some wins until, potentially, maybe we get, OG back, he's not scheduled to get his next follow up until March 1st. You know, what that will say, we don't know. But
But why
I
is it that you mentioned OG? Is that because that's the only player you've heard a date
as
on?
as far as the one that can possibly come back sooner rather than later.
Hmm.
You know, he's expected, I think, to visit, a doctor March 1st, and you know, hopefully, he can, again come back sooner rather than later. And Mitch is scheduled to start, continue with his rehab, after the All-Star break, and he's expected to put in some work, as
Yeah,
Tibbs
but that's
says.
limited.
Yeah, that's limited, but
And
I,
that's just on court shooting. That's not really like he's
yeah,
exactly ready to come back.
I'm trying to be pessimistic here, and rather optimistic. I'm trying to be. Um, But I think, with the core guys, Precious has stepped up tremendously. If we can get, iHeart back, he did, went down with an Achilles. So hopefully this rest, that this break, help with the healing. Devo, he went down, I think was didn't you say like a hamstring or something like that?
Hmm.
Again, I hope, that this rest, can, serve their body, good, and we can ink out some wins between now and hold on for like about another 2 to 3 more weeks, and then
I will say that these injuries are a bit excessive and more than any one of us anticipated.
oh, for
I
sure.
One of my biggest concerns was for the Knicks was that we didn't have enough backups at all. And I kept pointing out if injuries happen. I said if Julius Randle gets hurt, who do you have? Well, you have um, Precious, who's playing his position, as well as the five. And then you have OG Anunoby, but OG Anunoby also went out, and then Mitch went out. You had Isaiah Hartenstein, who had a phenomenal run. I thought he did a really good job filling in that five position, being aggressive. He was a huge part of the Knicks during that winning tenure. And then, the latest one you got is Dante DiVincenzo. And I just think that this is way more injuries than we expected. So for me now, I'm a little concerned because I'm like, who do you have to fill in for these prominent roles that are out currently who can come in? And I don't think it's necessarily that the Knicks don't have the players to do it. I just think it's, can they get to playing how that team was playing aggressively and together before you had all the injuries. All the players on that team were able to play together. And that was one of the biggest things that I kept preaching in the beginning of the season. And then as the Knicks started playing, I was like, okay, cool. You know, these guys know how to play together. But I don't know. I just think that, I think Bogdanovich is going to have a great game. I think Jalen Brunson is going to have a great game, and Precious Achua. And the other two positions, I have a question marks.
I feel if Dante can get back healthy, he did have a a little hamstring. Hopefully this rest. He was playing he was playing great. That was a
Yeah,
great
he
pickup.
was. I agree.
So like I said, well, hopefully this rest can help him and he could get back on track. So I feel we have there's quite a few other guys that can step up and contribute. That's just my take on it. You know, and iHeart, hopefully, he was able to, take care of that his Achilles. I don't know what you do for that. And I guess for the most part, they just say rest.
Yeah.
And just hopefully, he was able to, get some rest and stay off his feet, as much as he possibly can. It's hard to do, you need your feet for the most part. But let's hope, he was able to rest.
Yeah, I hope several guys were able to get rest because I think right now, I've said it throughout the season that the Knicks have to be very careful for, at least in my opinion, I think the Knicks do have to be careful where they land in the East. Because do I think that this Knicks team with a healthy group of guys can pull off if they landed hypothetically in eighth? I think this Knicks team can do what Miami did last year if they really needed to. If they really put themselves to the test and put forth that effort, this Knicks team, a healthy Knicks team, I think they can do what Miami did and crawl their way back from eighth. But I think if you still may be missing one or two guys, but if you can at least have Devo back, Hartenstein, and Randall, and then you can enter in a Mitchell Robinson at least by the first round, I think that this Knicks team, or rather, if they get those players back before the playoffs, I think that this Knicks team can. I mean, which is not going to happen, but I think that this Knicks team, if they can land in if they can stay in that fourth spot, I think they'll be okay for that first round.
Well, if healthy, we talk about hopefully a 9-man rotation, if and when healthy. And if they can, hold on, and just stay within, like they don't fall no lower than fourth. Um, and if healthy, I think they can, even, climb up to, either third or second. Because you gotta remember, you know, Cleveland still, although they're in second, they have, again, most teams in the league, they have a good amount of, 27 games, maybe plus to play. And and Cleveland, they have a pretty tough schedule, ahead of them. Um, so if the Knicks can just get healthy, I think they can crawl into, possibly the third. Um, but try not to fall under the fourth seed. Um,
Yeah, I don't think the Knicks need to necessarily try to even go. If you can get in second or third, great. But I think if, like you said, if you don't, go any higher than fourth and you land in fifth, sixth, fifth through eighth, then yeah, I think it's going to be a bit tougher for them, especially for the first round, because we don't have this definitive timeline of when guys like Mitchell Robinson or Julius Randle is coming back. So I think right now, this core group of guys that are left on the team, these guys have to figure out how to pull out wins together and learn how to play together.
Yeah.
But I think that it still is important that the Knicks stay at least second through fourth in the East. This way, when they get to the first round, they have that first and second round. They can, it's not as tough for them. I think any team is going to be a challenge, of course, and the playoffs is a different ball game. But I think the Knicks need to really try to watch where they land within the East because, I think that and in the end, it'll hurt them, especially with a banged up and battered Knicks team.
I agree because they have fourth, but Miami's knocking at the door. A few more losses and reverse a few more wins for Miami. Now they moved up to that that spot. So I think it's key and vital that they don't fall no lower than a four. If they could, move up to third or stay at fourth, I'll be happy with that. And again, just hold off until, hopefully, Randall comes back and, OG and Mitch. But the downside with that is that, okay, even when they do come back, will they be 100%? Can they give 100%?
Mhm.
And, so you want them back, but at what cost? And can they, be them the best version of themselves on that court. That's a flip side to that. You could get them back, but will they be able to give that 100% and things like that?
Exactly.
Will that be in the back of their mind? That injury. Especially with Randall. I was just listening to I forgot what podcast, and they was saying, oh, yeah, I was his right shoulder. Well, Randall tends to, he plays that bully ball with his right shoulder. So will he be able to, push off and battle, guys down low, with that right shoulder? So things like that you need to worry about. So will they be able to, give, 100%, as much as they want to? But again, that's something that you got to worry about as well.
Yeah, I brought that up. I don't think that Randall, Mitch, especially, are going to be able to come back and give 100% because just like when Randall came back at the top of this season, he was
Yeah.
monitoring himself so that way he wasn't tweaking his ankle,
Yep.
and then he had to find his rhythm and then let go of that fear of, I may hurt myself again and get that out of his system. So I think with Mitch and both Randall, it's going to be like that for them coming back. I don't think they're going to be able to initially give 100%. Corey Lee
Yeah.
said, "You're too worried about us playing the Orlandos and the Indianas, and I'm not worried about the Indianas or the Orlando." But here's the thing, the Knicks can't beat Orlando.
Exactly. We lost all three games. So you do
So
need to.
when they learn how to beat teams like Orlando and Indiana consistently, then I'll be less worried and won't have to take a Xanax.
Yeah, we're 0-3 with Orlando. So that's not saying a lot.
Can't you the Knicks have to learn how to beat a lot of teams in the league. OKC is another one. You somehow don't know how to beat them either.
Yeah.
Boston, you don't know how to beat Boston.
And which we play them what soon. We
Yeah,
play
we
them
played
what
them right after the Thursday game. I think we played them
yeah,
Saturday.
Friday. Yep.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Those were circumstances losses. Corey, let's not really have
But it
excuses.
counts.
Right. And if you can't beat them in the regular season, what makes you think that all of a sudden they're going to grow these superpowers and beat them in the playoffs? And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I think you have to prove not just as a team, but to those other teams that you're not going to just walk all over us and beat us in a series throughout the regular season. And the Knicks have several teams who they cannot seem to figure out how to beat them. I'm just like, and I'll even put Milwaukee in that with them. You beat them once. The Knicks have to learn how to beat teams in a series, at least even it up or take that 3-1 or however many times they played them. Got to learn how to beat teams.
You do, plain and simple.
Shaw Power, salute. He said, we have a full roster. We a full roster. Oh, we have had a full roster. We a full roster.
Yeah. I think when we played them, the first two times, we didn't have OG, but we still lost. You
Exactly.
know, I don't
Exactly.
know. Well, they play them again, so we'll see. They got Orlando. I think they're playing them twice again.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. You have to learn how to beat teams like Orlando, teams like OKC, teams like Boston. You got to beat those teams.
We
This
play them
is
once
not
again. On March what's that? 6th, 7th, no 8th. It's right. It's so small. We play them again at home. We'll see.
yeah, right. Can you beat them?
Yeah.
That's more of where I'm coming from. Is like the Knicks need to prove that they can beat those teams in a league. Miami, Atlanta are past previous playoff situations. Well, Atlanta's not even a thought, are they? I don't think so. They're in
Yeah.
10. No, they're not a thought. So this is a whole
Miami's right at Miami's knocking, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and these are the
Miami,
teams that you have to be worried about.
right, right.
So
Yeah, I think that with the Knicks, it doesn't matter who they play in the first round. Before you even get to the first round, I think I don't know remember if it was an article that I read or if it was a podcast, and I feel like it was more of a podcast. I can't remember whose, but they were discussing how they don't. One of the guys on the podcast is saying he doesn't think it's important where the Knicks land in the Eastern Conference.
you look at that, see that?
Corey Lee want the link. Corey, I'll send the link because I really would love for you to explain. Let me see.
But overall, I think with the healthy Knicks, we will be, contenders and, can give a lot of, teams a run for their money. But until we get healthy, we have to deal with what we have. You can't look for it down the road because those games haven't been played yet. You have to take it one game at a time. So you can't just look, well, this is who I'm gonna get and this is who I'm gonna beat. It's impossible.
Right.
You have to take it one game at a time and don't look down the road. So that's my thing. Salute.
Salute Delano Still Jr. Shaw
One
said, I'm
six.
not scared of any of them, but Boston and Mavs scared of Orlando and Indy. Yeah, because they beat them. That's the
Yeah.
difference. That's the difference. The Knicks can't seem to figure out how to beat Orlando. The Knicks have yet to figure out how to beat OKC, and the Knicks have also have yet to figure out how to beat Boston. And I'm sure I'm
Exactly.
probably missing another team, but those are definitely the top three that they have yet to figure out how to beat. So I think
Yeah.
until the Knicks figure out, because you can't blame injuries with majority of those games. You probably didn't have OG for a few, and we're not even going to bring up Bogdanovich and Burks because they just got here. But otherwise than that, the only differences was maybe the lineup changes with Grimes going to the bench, DiVincenzo coming up. He's been performing well. But again, the Knicks haven't figured out how to beat those teams. Salute Corey Lee.
In the building. And then when Corey Lee goes up, I definitely want to, touch on some things.
Yeah, definitely. We can get into your questions you have to ask. Yeah, Orlando's very tall. That's another thing. And when we, especially not having Isaiah Hartenstein in the game, the Knicks look really small
Yeah.
and they're getting out rebounded. I'm like, you don't have no Mitch or Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah, those last few games, man, we got creamed in the board. As much as, Precious trying to hold his on, he feels in great at the four, but to put him at the five, he was just being outmatched for the most part. He's filled in great. You can't take anything away from him. He was given that shot. He showed up. Um, he did what he had to do. But as far as the matchup, he just he's
He's
just
not
not
tall enough to compete
exactly.
against taller players. And
Yep.
you definitely notice the difference when he's in playing the five versus when it's Hartenstein in, whereas Hartenstein can battle for the boards better than Precious Achua. Not to say Precious doesn't go after the boards because he does do a good job, but sometimes the height, the difference, um, it definitely shows in games. And Taj Gibson is not going to get it for you. So
Yeah, I was watching Steph's podcast. Yo, Queen said she said her eyes rolled the back of her head every time he gets on the floor.
listen, I don't
Salute
blame
to
her.
Steph.
Yeah, salute to Steph. Salute to Sim Creative, Nothing But Nick's channel, and salute to Tony. Tony was on earlier. I gotta rewatch the beginning of that show. I only caught it at the tail end. But yeah, you could get started on your questions until Corey Lee comes in.
Well, hold on. Oh, sorry. Well, I just had like a few things that I wish that I had text over to you. Um, and like one of my questions was what do you think like they need to improve on, for that second half? Because we're coming down the home stretch.
Well, it's tough to say with the injuries right now, but I think that with this second half coming up, and fast approaching, rebooting back this week, I think that this team has to learn how to incorporate Burks and Bogdanovich into the offense. And I think this team needs to learn how to play together as a team. Because even when we went to the game, and that was when the Knicks played Utah, the Knicks didn't, there was a lot of stagnant points on the offense where the ball was just going nowhere but back and forth amongst players. No one was doing anything unless Jalen Brunson was in the game. So I think
All right.
this team, someone has to know how to be able to step in and step up and go ahead and take the ball to the hole or whatnot. So with the healthy Knicks team, I think that this team for sure should, continue to play how they was playing, but they got to be wanted more and go harder.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay, young ladies, and those were dope takes, and I get it because I understand your perspective. Don't get it messed up. You know what I'm saying? And I will not poo-poo nobody's perspective, but I need y'all to understand this. Listen, remember when we were the almighty fourth seed the first time when Tibbs got here, and he laid the groundwork. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Hmm.
and and, and we were sweeping. We swept Atlanta. Okay, we weren't prepared for that because you know why? Because Randall was the only means of offense for our entire team. And now, with that said, we did the same thing to Boston last year as well as Miami last year. Miami came up with a whole total different game plan. We have to understand that Tibbs will have a whole different game plan for this playoff series this year. We got to trust in him. As much as a lot of us don't, we're gonna have to. You know what I'm saying? I apologize for not having my camera on because I'm out and about, so I didn't want to be a distraction. But
That's
the thing
good.
is that ladies got to understand that. Like, listen, in Tibbs we trust because right now we gave him everything. We gave him everything he asked for. So now it's all about him. You know what I'm saying? He got a pot of gumbo, he gotta stir it up, and he gotta make things happen with it. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? I just gotta trust in him right now. You know what I'm saying? As much as I may not like a lot of the decisions that he may make, but you gotta trust in him. I think Mitch is gonna come back and do the right thing, whether he starts or not. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Hartenstein will do what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Pending injury, as well as Randall, which I could deal with a 75% Randall or even 85% Randall. Excuse me, 85% Randall versus, you know what I'm saying, a lot of other cats. You know what I'm saying? Listen, he's not a 3-time All NBA player for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So let's just let him get in here, get a feel, heal, and pick back up where he left off. You know what I'm saying? Next month's gonna be rough, but it's gonna be a fruitful month. Watch, we come out and we're gonna go on another street. And with that said, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all. I want to do work with y'all. You know what I'm saying? On Sundays. You know what I'm saying? You come mess with me and Bully. You know what I'm saying? We have a great conversation. You know what I'm saying? I love that smile. I love that smile. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure, we'll,
And we
Yeah,
we'll
sit,
we
be happy.
you know what I'm saying? And we chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Like Nick fans do. With that said, though, I'm out and thank you.
thank you,
Thank you,
Corey.
Corey. And also, with that being said, like I said, the Knicks got 27 games left. 16 of those games are with teams over 500. The remaining 11 is with teams under 500, subpar teams.
Right.
Can they get, or how many wins are can they get with teams over 500? Their record itself, yeah, we beat Denver, we beat, Philly and teams like that. But again, it's the Bostons that we need to worry about. Orlando, we are 0-3 against teams
Okay.
like that. OKC,
Dallas.
yes.
Dallas is
So
another team they somehow can't seem to beat. And I wanted to go off of. I think I know for sure Diva Locks is on the same page, and we fully support Tibbs. We've never been non-Tibbs supporters. We support Tibbs and what he's doing, but do we agree with a lot of decision making that he does? Absolutely not.
exactly.
We talked about a lot of different calls that Tibbs has or lack of action that he hasn't done in certain games, whether that was, what was that time when he took out what was it quickly and put RJ in the game? There was times where he, left Brunson in the games too long or Randall in the games too long and he could have sat those guys down. So there's a lot of times where Tibbs does questionable, even lack of plays that Tibbs doesn't do that we question and wonder why. But do I think that Tibbs has come to the Knicks and changed the organization? Absolutely. I think he's took it from where Woodson had it and brought it to a better level. Because that was the last time they had a decent coach, Mike Woodson. But I think that we are both in agreement that once the Knicks get their healthy players back, yes, the Knicks are going to be a really good team, but I just think that we have to focus on who the Knicks have now. And like Diva Locks was just saying, can they pull off the wins that they need to pull off, to finish off the season strong? Like, I think Steph had asked us originally beginning of the season, how many wins do we think the Knicks was gonna win in the regular season? I had them at 50. What was your number?
I lowered it. I think I had them at like 47 or something like that.
Mhm.
Somewhere around there. I lowered it. I did have them at 50, but I lowered it like a
Right,
few podcasts later. Um, at this point with their 33, you know,
right.
40, that's 14 games out of 27. You know, can they get there? And salute to Zara. Yeah, I think health is more important than seeding for us, and it is. Like if the guys aren't healthy, how can we expect them to, you know, get past the fourth or hell stay at fourth? You know, th- like I said, Miami's knocking, a few more games or losses, now you start falling. So that health is wealth for the Knicks right now, and it's paramount. You gotta get these guys back, and the ones that will be taking the floor come Thursday. They have to stay healthy. You
Right.
know, on injuries.
But do you think, okay, I get that. Health is important, right? But let's just say the Knicks slip to the seventh or eighth seed, hypothetically, right? And they go there. Or anywhere we'll say between sixth and seventh seed. The Knicks now, we get to the first round. You got a healthy Mitchell Robinson back. You got Julius Randle back. You have OG Anunoby back. And you have Dante DiVincenzo back. And you have Hartenstein who's back. So now Tibbs has options. Do you think a healthy Knicks team reuniting back in the first round of the playoffs is going to be able to come back and play how they were playing during that run or at the
Yeah.
start of the run when they found their mojo? You think they'll be able to come back and they'll be able
Oh
to
yeah.
get things rolling?
Unequivocally, yes. Yep. I think so. Yeah, I mean, if you could get the full roster back healthy. Yes, I think the Knicks will be a force to be reckoned with. Because they're teams that they have a healthy roster. They're at the seeding where they're at and the standards where they're at. So I think with the Knicks, the Knicks can contend with I think with anybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
believe
they can
so.
contend with anybody, but I wonder how strong can they finish off the regular season because that's what's concerning to me. Yes, I agree that health has to be there for the team to be successful, right? In the playoffs, which is what really matters more. I'm not necessarily saying that the regular season is more important, but what I'm saying is I think it's important where these guys finish in the East because it would be nice if you can give yourself a slight break in the first round of the playoffs and maybe go against a team who like a Cleveland where you was able to dominate and beat them and then get to the second round. You have a bit more of a challenge, but you can take that team. I said maybe like 3 episodes ago, I truly think that the Knicks can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like especially by the second round, you'll have a more healthy guy, a healthy team. You'll have guys coming back and they'll be healthy. But I think that I don't know. And then I think you would just commenting on you think this team will be able to come back and play strong and together. I think that they can, but I wonder if it can be to the explosiveness that we saw them doing because guys are going to be not necessarily at 100%. So these are things that concern me. Do I think this team, they're fighters, they're resilient? I'd wanted them to also show me that they do want it more. I thought the Knicks did well last year in the playoffs, but when we played against Miami, I didn't feel like the Knicks wanted it more. I felt like Miami wanted it more.
Well, this is a new team this year, so I
Agreed.
I, I think you know with the group of guys that we have now, yeah, I'm confident for sure.
Salute Coach Star 617. He said the East is wide open. It is. It's anybody's game unless you Boston in the number one seed because they have a nice lead above everybody. Otherwise, it really is open for grabs for anybody. Anything could happen in the second season. Anything. So he said, I think we will match up well against Miami.
I
I
think
haven't
so too.
I haven't watched them enough, but from the little I saw, I didn't see anything that made me wow.
Yeah,
They was just given like regular. But again, they're the type of team that they know how to turn it up to that next level come the playoffs, where some teams look exhausted and tired. Miami knows how to take it to that next level. So we'll see. I think we'll see. But I still have the Knicks at 50 wins. I'm being optimistic here.
yeah, I think so. It just a key things, like again, health. They have to get healthy. They have to stay focused. Take one game at a time for the most part. You can't look ahead, at a game that hasn't been played. So you just gotta just stay focused and locked in. And that,
Hmm.
and I think, even without the key guys, with the guys that you're going to put on that floor, night in and night out, without your core players, if everybody's focused and locked in, yeah, they can match up well with who they have, on the floor. Um, again, you can't be stagnant and complacent. You gotta, like, these guys, like, gotta want it more than your opponent. Um, I think that they can, get there. Um, so that's just something that.
You cutting out, Diva Locks. You there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Coach SAR 617 said Boston is the hardest team because of KP. You think it's because of KP or is it a combination of him, Jalen Brown, and Tatum? Because I feel like it's a combination for me. I don't feel like it's just because of Kristaps Porzingis. I
I
really,
think the three of them
yeah, I
is
think it's a combination of the three. I don't think
they're
it's
like
necessarily because of KP.
the three-headed monster over there.
Yeah, Shaw Power says 17 and 10. Yeah, that's where I have them. I don't think that's wishful thinking either. I think 17 and 10 is fun. Okay, I'm sorry, Diva Lux, you had your questions.
No, I mean, one of my questions was, is there a sense of urgency for the Knicks, at this point? You
A
know,
sense of urgency for what exactly, though, do you mean?
well, I want to say to move up, but just this, you know, you can't, I got and not to lose any more games. The sense of urgency, like, okay, this is the second half. You
Hmm.
know, you again, you don't, you definitely don't want to fall to eighth because guess who you're gonna meet? You're gonna meet Boston.
Right.
Seventh, you potentially meet in Cleveland, which we've handled Cleveland, but again, a sense of urgency to where you want to, you know, again, get some wins going, stack some wins up. And so it's just, there has to me, there needs to be a sense of urgency. Um, for the Knicks to, again, to if you want to either stay up fourth or you're going to move up.
Yeah, to me, I for sure think there's a sense of urgency because, again, I don't think we've really seen this Knicks team necessarily go on a losing streak of this many. I don't recall there ever being a 4 game losing streak. And for me, yes, I can admit that this sense of urgency is needed because I am a little concerned. This is coming out of concern for me. I'm not panicking, but it is a little concerning to see that, again, I can't put full fault on them because they did just get 2 new guys entered onto the team. So these guys have to get acclimated in the offense. But I also feel like with Alex Burks, yes, he was on this team, Bogdanovich being the veteran that he is, these guys will fit in well with the offense. I'm not questioning that, but I know they have to get gelled in with the remainder of the guys that's on this team. But I think there is a sense of urgency to get back into the winning column and for the Knicks to start winning. I think they have to figure out how to win. And just that guys were doing without Randall on the floor and without Mitch on the floor, and they figured out how to win, they have to do the same thing. Somebody else has to step up. Okay, Devo's not there. Okay, Bogdanovich, you take the load and help out with the shooting. You know what I mean? Alex Burks has to come in and contribute. So I think Precious has to, step up a little bit more, like how Hartenstein stepped up. I get it that we lack the height, but this team that we currently have, this group of guys, they have to figure out how to win. Because the last thing you want to see is the Knicks go on losing, another 5 games, six. That's too many. Now you have to try to. I also don't want the Knicks to go out where it seems like they kind of just said, okay, we're going to give up and win what we win for the remainder of the season. Just make sure we are still in the play in. I want them to go out with some heart, which I don't necessarily see them not doing, but I don't want you going on a streak of losing so many games, that we know a lot of them the Knicks are totally capable of winning. But I think there is a huge sense of urgency for the Knicks get back into winning for sure for me.
Yes, it's same here. That's why I said to me, there's like a sense of urgency. This 27 games, there's not a lot of games. We passed the halfway mark at this point, So for me, I feel there is a sense of urgency and, just hoping that, Tibbs could just make those necessary adjustments. And do you think he can, as well, just make those necessary adjustments, because you're down, three key players.
Hmm.
So I'm just hoping he can.
Yeah, I think again, he's working with what he has. I mean, if you're down to the point where you're utilizing Jacob Toppin and you're barely doing that, then you're really down to whatever you can use. It's like having hot dogs and no buns or bread. So you're trying to make the best out of a situation that you can. But I think that I'm more so concerned with, okay, how does he run his rotations when you get those healthy guys back? When you have a healthy Knicks team, that's what I want to see him making the right calls on the rotations for who he has with a healthy squad. But I still just stand by. I think this group of guys need to figure out how to win, and they have to figure out how to win together. It can't just be Jalen Brunson carrying the load on his back every night, and even that's not enough. I think he also was due for a long rest. He was starting to look tired and just exhausted from playing night in night out. Like, yeah, I love that he played the All-Star game, but I think he also needs to sit down and rest too.
Yeah, well, as one of Tibbs, sayings goes, it's next man up. And but who's going to be that next man? We said Precious, but Precious is not a true five. So like we need somebody else that's gonna, well, iHeart's expected to come back. He's day to day. So let's hope he's able to come back. Again, this is Monday. So you got Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Thursday we'll see, come game time, who's available, who's not available.
Honestly, I would rather Tibbs keep resting iHeart or play him on very limited minutes because you're going to need him in the playoffs until Mitch gets back, and then you have him also. But I want to see iHeart playing, but on limited minutes, and him and Precious kind of juggle those minutes. You have Bogdanovich, who's a pretty tall player as well. I just think that I don't want to see Hartenstein playing a ton of minutes. Um, I know you have brought up Noel, Nerlens Noel, right? If that's who he's talking about.
Yeah,
And I agree with you with I think the Knicks should have went after him versus going after Taj Gibson.
for sure.
Like I'm not sure why the Knicks keep going to Taj. It's very strange to me why they keep going after Taj. Like just stop it. I'm not sure why they keep going after Taj is just not it. He's not gonna Nerlens, we know he could block, he could rebound, he can get up off his feet quicker. It's just
That's Tibbs' boy. That's why he keeps going back to Taj, and Tibbs got to separate. He needs to learn how to separate. Who's he trusts and who he like, as opposed to who's going to help contribute. Because Taj is just not it. Like you got to
no,
put those feelings aside. This is a business.
right. I agree. How you feel about Marcus Morris?
I would definitely feel better with anybody over Taj at this point.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm not sure why do they keep going to like the bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what that's about, but it is painful, and I see what Steph means. It's painful every time you see Taj get in the game. It's almost like they're giving the overweight kid a chance to get in the game because they feel bad and they want to give him a couple of minutes. And I'm just like, why? Why are we doing that? So I don't, yeah. And honestly, again, even with iHeart being out, I still don't want to see Taj getting in the game.
No, I'd rather see Sims. play in the place of Taj.
Yeah,
Sims set nice screens.
yeah, he does. But
He's
I
10.
think Tibbs is bringing in Taj because he's trying to give Sims a breather. So that's when Taj comes in for those, 2, 3 minutes. But yeah, I don't want to see Taj in the game. It's very painful to watch. It's like it's a agita. It's yeah.
Sims into everyone is bad.
Someone plus tip circle of trust. I would rather go with Noel and Sims.
For
I
sure.
would.
Same here.
And then you would have Precious playing that backup position, along with them to help out. Yeah, I wasn't his last day today, Taj? They have to re-sign him by today.
What's it? The 19th? I think
Yeah,
so.
I think it was today.
Let's hope they didn't.
Yeah, they just keep re-signing. I don't know. It's like he's like that cell phone plan. You just keep putting the minutes on every time it's about to expire. You catch it, and you with the last couple of minutes left, and you just keep putting minutes on the phone. Yeah, same. I'm not rushing either guy to come back because I think the playoffs, like I said, it's a different animal, and that's where you're really gonna need both Mitch and Isaiah Hartenstein to come through and really give that 100% that the Knicks are gonna need. Salute to I am Jarrell. He said, "Bless Taj Hart." Yeah. Listen, Jarrell, I agree with you when you said Sims shouldn't even be in the league. But I'd rather see Sims playing before I see Taj getting on that court. I would. I don't
Oh,
want to see.
same here.
So you have the Knicks at 43 wins. I have them still at 50. The Knicks do come back.
No, I think I said I have him at 47. I'm gonna go
Oh,
with
47.
47.
Okay, 47. Cool. Yeah. The Knicks are 33 and 22. Philly's right behind them at 32 and 22. And the Knicks could even slip into third. Milwaukee's at 35 and 21. So
Yeah.
but the Knicks do play Philly Thursday at 7, and then they play against Saturday against Boston at 8:30, which would be a really good game. So, I think those are going to be two tough games for the Knicks until they play again next week, which is still going to be a decent schedule with a few, pretty good teams. But
Yes.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying like they have like out of those 27 games, 9 are out west.
Hmm.
And the West is tough, so we'll see.
I still think the East is better this year. I think the West has like two good games, but I think the East definitely is way more stacked. And that even showed in the All-Star game, which I don't know. The only thing I liked about the All-Star game was the 3-point contest between Steph and Sabrina. That was like the only thing that was really entertaining to me. Everything else was just very mediocre. It was like watching those Tubi basketball movies and you have no interest in what's going on. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Your predictions for this week's game, Thursday and Saturday, Thursday with Philly, Saturday with Boston, your predictions?
I'm gonna go 1-1
Hmm.
until they can beat Boston, and because we playing Boston, we got them. We're gonna meet them again. If they could just ink out this win Saturday, I I would definitely, have them, going against taking at least the other one. But until then, I'm going 1-1.
Yeah, that's where I have them, 1-1. Um, I'm not sure because again, like I said earlier, Shout out to Corey Lee. When we were talking to Corey, I said the Knicks have yet to prove that they can beat Boston, OKC, Dallas, and
Orlando.
there you go. So until they can prove that they can beat those teams, I'm not saying that the Knicks are not a good team. They are a good team. But the key word that should have been thrown around more than continuity is, are the Knicks contenders? And part of being contenders is that you can beat a team and however many games you play in a series against them in a regular season more than once. And you know what? We're going to add Milwaukee with an asterisk on that list because you've only beat them once.
Yeah.
That's another team that they struggle to beat. And when you get to the playoffs, it's not the regular season. It's a different animal. It's a different ball game, literally. This is like teams somehow they just the energy level supersedes what they were doing during the regular season. Now guys' eyes are more on the prize. So that hunger for a championship has to be there. That hunger to want to win has to be there. The hunger to want to beat the teams, even that's better than you and have better shooters than you. It has to be there. You got to be able to beat Dallas. How you haven't beat Dallas yet?
And not even that. You have guys that come off the bench and they make this miraculous. Now they on fire. They make a contribution that you wouldn't. If we seen it, you know,
Plenty of times
Memphis.
against the Knicks.
Yes, I remember Memphis was down everybody. But man, their bench outscored us horribly. So you got teams like that where get your bench players that can shoot the lights out. Miami, these guys, they were nobodies, and they just came. They was resurrected and just came alive. So you got to worry about things like that.
But why do you think that continues to be a problem for the Knicks?
I don't know
Why
because
do the Knicks allow either a no-name player or the bench of another team come in and score 40 to 60 points against the Knicks? Why do the Knicks that happens against the Knicks?
I don't know. They seem to play down with teams that are mediocre or subpar. That's my take on them. You know, it's other reasons, but they just don't rise to the occasion with teams like that are subpar.
Hmm.
They know on paper, yeah, they are better than them, but somehow on that floor, it just don't click. So, and they seem to play down with teams that they are better than.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that the Knicks think that they're automatically going to beat that team. And that's why the mentality's not where it is when they play sometimes the better teams in the league. It's weird how their energy and flow could be in certain games, right? Because even against teams that are well below 500, the Knicks have come out really strong in some cases. But we watched them play Detroit, and it was an even match game most of the game. So it's just weird how the Knicks sometimes will come out a little bit too lax against teams that are not that good in the league, and or sometimes they have a horrible first half or horrible first three quarters, and it takes the fourth for them to finally make a run and push away and get the lead further out. So I don't know what that's about with them, you know, and why does that the Knicks allow or that one random no name player come in and just shoot the lights out? And I think part of that is also the lack of good defense. I think the Knicks have become a better completely better defensive team because that was one of my issues with them was that the defense there wasn't any defense. It was non-existent.
Yeah.
It was non-existent. The Knicks weren't guarding the perimeter. And I think that's something else that they have to get back to in order to beat these teams with the makeup of players that they have now. They have to figure out how to play really good Knicks defense. And that's part of what made the Knicks successful because when you get to the playoffs again, you can't allow teams to just shoot the lights out against you. Yeah, sometimes it's going to be better offense, and I understand that. But I think you have to guard that perimeter line and not allow guys to just shoot the lights out and just shoot in whatever shot they want to make. So I don't know. We'll see. Exactly. It's going to take a collective effort. But I think that energy that OG, um, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo brings when they're able to cut in the lane and steal the basketball, which they do well, all three of them. I think if they can do that, then yeah, I think that'll be a nice addition to, even at one point when Mitchell Robinson was in, he had very active hands. So I think it's going to take a collective effort, and that's where the Knicks are really successful when they have a collective team effort of everyone pitching in defensively and playing smart on a defensive end. And yeah, the Knicks they're really good and they're really tough to go against once they're locked in defensively.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we'll see. But I do have them 1-1 like you. I think the Knicks still have to prove that they can beat teams that they have yet to beat. And Boston is one of them, which we'll see on Saturday if the Knicks can pull out a win against them. Are my hopes high? No, but I think if they can do it with the makeup of guys that they have now, that would be beautiful. And I say my hopes aren't high because we don't have a healthy Knicks squad. But you still have guys who are capable of beating teams on the team. I mean, this is not necessarily like a scrubby list. You can still beat teams with the group of guys that you have. You just have to get back to that core of winning and figure out how to do that and play A1 defense at the same time. So, we'll see what happens. And then with Philly, I'm gonna be watching that game too because I want to see what the Knicks do.
Yeah, for sure.
But anything for you from you before we get out of here? Anything
No,
else?
just waiting for that second half until Thursday's game. I
Yeah,
hope we ain't got to win.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. With the Knicks and the remainder of the second half. I'm hoping we get guys like Julius back as soon as possible, OG back as soon as possible. I think, and I'm really hoping that we can get Isaiah Hartenstein and Dante DiVincenzo back sooner than the last two. And then Mitch, I'm looking forward to him coming back. So, I think the sooner they can get those guys back, the better. And then it just takes the Knicks getting in as many wins as they can before the postseason. So, Shaw said Brunson, Devo, Josh Hart, Precious, iHeart, Unit, Deuce Burks, Vogue, and Sims. Yeah. Yeah, I think both Burks and Bogdanovich should come off the bench. Unless Dante DiVincenzo's off.
No,
You know.
he's been key for the most part, Dante.
No, I'm saying like if he's having an off game, even though I
Oh,
don't see Tibbs doing that, he'll probably keep him in and tell him to keep shooting, you know? So yeah, I mean, yeah, this is about who they're gonna have. And then eventually, I don't know, who do you cut out once you get back? Well, I guess that's whenever those guys come back, Mitch and Randall. I'm not gonna add them yet. Yeah, but I still think iHeart should play limited minutes, play Sims more minutes, and Precious.
it's not a good lineup, but it's what we have.
Right.
It's
They don't
not.
have any options. It's
Yeah.
too many injuries. It's way too many injuries. Who do they have?
Yeah.
You can't, there's really nobody else to put in. Tibbs has to work with, who should we switch out? You know what? Let's take out so we could put, what's his name in? What you call its brother? They got to sign two more guys. Mm. Yeah, because aren't they at 13?
Yeah, they do have two more roster spots, but so far we haven't heard of it. You know,
Right.
maybe hopefully by Thursday they'll sign so they'll surprise us. Not that they'll be playing, but at least, they can, get in some reps and some practice.
I think it's gonna be Nerlens.
I hope so. Anybody except Taj.
I think it's gonna be Nerlens they're gonna bring because that's the only other person I could think of, at least for right now. So they made Santosh. So we'll see. We'll see. But that's it for us today. I know we haven't been on in a while, but it feels good to be on with Diva Locks. I know she can't make every episode. Um, but those of you who are new here, subscribe to the channel so you can catch us when we do any pregame or postgame coverage, as well as having guests on the show with us, as we appreciate Corey Lee, who joined us today. Hit the like button for those of you, again, it's your first time, those who have been old time visitors and who always catch us and show love. Hit the like button before you guys leave out and tell a friend, tell your cousin about our show. Shout out to the chat. Knicks are nice. Salute to you, Shaw Powers, Corey Lee, who also joined us. Appreciate you. And we will be looking out and linking up to join you on a Sunday. King Ribby RM, salute, salute. Delano Steele Jr., salute to you. And also, to those of you who do want to join us, I will be dropping the link in the chat. So if you guys want to join us, don't hesitate to click on the link. Shaw Power, salute. I am Jarrell, salute.
Salute. J Boogie. What's his name?
J Boogie, salute. Zara Bellaby Noalis, salute to you for joining us. J Boogie for always showing love. And I think that was everybody today.
It was
Oh no,
Coach.
Kiana, Brian.
It
Who
was
did you
Coach
say?
CR 617.
Yeah, Coach Sar. What's up, Sar? We want to thank everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it. And as Diva Locks always says, let's go Knicks. And we'll see you guys back later this week to go over the Knicks next game against Philly. I'm hoping for a win. The Knicks are capable of winning, but I think they have to figure out how to get back into winning. So until we get a healthy Knicks squad, we'll be back. I'm just joking. But until next time, salute, old head.
Salute.
Show the page some support and love. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Leave us a comment. We do respond back to all comments. And until next time, we out of here. Peace.
Peace.